Where does employee experience intersect with customer experience? And in your view, how should organizations design for both of them?
Employee experience and customer experience, the question itself sets up a dichotomy that these things are somewhat opposed one to another, and we certainly don't believe that. I believe employee experience is a reflection of something that is very natural. There was a Harvard Business Review case study of a global retailer. That global retailer did a 3-year analysis and found that moving a store from the bottom level of experience metric to the top level alone, not sales, let me do more advertising, just improving employee experience actually boosted revenue for that store by 50%, which of course, revenue means profits, and it follows closely behind.
Welcome to Discover Dialogues podcast, powered by TechDogs. The world of business and technology is evolving at breakneck speed. AI breakthroughs, digital transformation, and game-changing innovations are reshaping industries every day. On this show, we dive into the trends, ideas, and strategies driving the future. We're sitting down with industry leaders, innovators, and disruptors to bring you fresh insights, bold perspectives, and real conversations that matter. So plug in, tune in, and let's discover what's next.
Today on Discover Dialogues, we're joined by Christopher Reed, CTO AMER at Omnissa, a leader who has spent more than 2 decades shaping how people experience digital work. From his early engineering days to leading strategy at VMware, Broadcom, and now Omnissa, Chris has been guided by a simple mission: help people build lasting relationships and enhance life through technology. Let's dive in. Welcome to another episode of TechDogs Discover Dialogues, Christopher. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Christopher, your career has been a fascinating one, right? You have engineering roots, and then you now are the CTO of AMER at Omnissa, right? And so you've not only navigated big transformations across VMware, Broadcom, and now Omnissa, right? I would like to rewind a little and focus on your professional journey for our audience to understand how it was. So could you please rewind a little bit and walk us through your professional journey and how has it helped you at your current role as a CTO at Omnissa?
Awesome. So my professional journey is really the expression of a insatiable curiosity into how things work. If I look at where I started in this industry 30 plus years ago, it was wanting deeply to understand this crazy thing called networking and technology and computers and how does it all fit together. And then of course, the .com and then getting certifications and the Novell days and the Microsoft days. So I've always had a great deal of just wanting to understand the process, wanting to understand the interconnectivity, wanting to really grasp those things at a fundamental level. What has driven me is, and it's a little silly to have your own mission statement, but my mission is to help people. I want to build lasting relationships that allow me to learn. And by learning, I can learn what I don't know. And then the things and the knowledge I have gathered, I can teach to others. And I can use that in a very real and tangible way to enhance the quality of life for others through technology. There's an amazing transformative power. It is both fundamental, it's sociological, it is very human in what we do with technology and the lives and the hearts that it changes on a daily, minute by minute basis, both for good and sometimes not for good, is immeasurable. So that's what's driven me is a fundamental desire to do the very best thing that I can to help the most number of people, and that's served me very well. It's allowed me to do everything from storage, network, virtualization, directory, identity, all the way to the work I'm able to do today. So it's been quite a journey.
That's really great, Christopher. I really like the insatiable curiosity, right? Because I believe every individual needs to have that in terms of to achieve the purpose and, being they're out there and, achieve whatever they want. And then, your goal to, help as many as people as you can, through technology and, aligning all of it together. So that's a great mission that you're on, right? So what now I would like to focus on is your area of expertise, right? End user computing, digital workspaces, and the balance between security and experience, right? And you've built frameworks like identity based computing and led strategies in digital workspace, right? And what I believe is everyone speaks about employee and customer experience, right? But I believe that you're the one who argue that they are not separate, they are one.
100%.
So my question over here was, where does employee experience intersect with customer experience? And in your view, how should organizations design for both of them?
So, employee experience and customer experience, the question itself sets up a dichotomy that these things are somewhat opposed one to another, and we certainly don't believe that. I believe employee experience is a reflection of something that is very natural. If you have somebody who's a bit of a mess maker, and you know they don't want to invite people over to the house, they're ashamed, or like, oh, if you come over to my house, I have to clean these things up. And today's modern worker gains so much of their person, their identity, who they are from where they work and the culture that that has. You can almost identify somebody like, oh, you work for that company, because sometimes the culture just runs so deep, and there's a lot of identity and pride that's taken from that. If your home is dirty, if your employee experience is bad, then those same employees are not going to have the level of confidence. They're not going to have the level of identity, and they're going to constantly be facing struggles. They're going to constantly be tripping over the clothes on the floor or the applications that are crashing. They're going to constantly be, bumping into the stack of books that somebody left in the corner, which, would liken to trying to find, the human resources page because experience is so bad. Things are in 75 different places. Nobody wants that. It's very, very clear that improving an employee's experience and a digital experience, as well as their personal experience, will drive identity. They'll greatly more identify with the employer. And then it has been absolutely proven. There was a Harvard Business Review case study, of a global retailer. That global retailer did a 3-year analysis and found that moving a store from the bottom level of experience metric to the top level alone, not sales, not hey, let me do more advertising, just improving employee experience actually boosted revenue for that store by 50%, which of course revenue means profits, and it follows closely behind. So I don't think you can have a horrible, dirty, messy home as a business where everything's hard to get to. And, well, the front yard's pretty,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to have a level of pride. They're going to have a level of ownership when they're treated well digitally and in person, that they're simply going to represent you and your organization that much better. And it's just human to know. Yeah, you meet somebody and you're like, "Are you okay? Or everything all right?" And the thing is they don't want to be where they're at because the experience is horrible. We don't want that for anybody.
I appreciate the point of you bringing out this point, because I believe that employee experience matters a lot, right? And the digital employee experience is an important thing in the current space of evolving tech that is happening. Because I believe when you treat your employees right and you give them all the resources that they require to achieve their task, and as you yourself has stated, the study that was being taken, 50% increase in the revenue, right? It's a huge number. And I believe that other than the culture that you set for your employees, the digital experience also matters. When it's a seamless digital experience, the employee will have the motivation to come to work every day and deliver what they are supposed to. Otherwise, if there are a lot of hassles in navigating the enterprise tech stack that is out there, it can demotivate the employees and then make them start thinking about, oh, what are they even doing with their life, because technology is there to make life easy, not to complicate it. So I believe that is very important, that to complicate things, align people, process, and technologies, and achieve the business goals that you have.
Absolutely. And nobody wants to climb a mountain to get next door. The harder you make it to work there, the less journey you're going to have. And that applies to everything from, hey, I got a new laptop. Did it take it 2 hours before you could use it? Did it take it 2 weeks? Did you have 50 calls to the help desk to get
Mhm.
things working? Like all of those things
Mhm.
matter. And if you're already starting out at a bit of an emotional deficit because of how bad that was, like now I have to get that person back on track and be like, but wait, be happy to be here. Things are going to work out. Now go represent. And work is more than a paycheck, and experience is key and fundamental to that story.
Definitely, I do agree with you on that. And when I was researching about Omnissa and your profile, of course, so Omnissa is uniquely positioned at the intersection of security and usability, right? And I believe it's important, and it's not a very easy balance to find, right? So, according to you, what are the toughest trade-offs, that you have to go through when getting the balance right?
Yeah. So balancing security and balancing experience introduces the idea that these things are somewhat
Mm-hmm.
divergent. The best way to keep people secure digitally and to keep organizations secure is to simply let people know the right path to walk.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very much the same thing. Security, of course, would argue that they're very unique and different, and there's a lot of things there. But if I create an excellent experience for an end user, and it also happens to be the most secure one, well, now they're going to go that path. If you give people a clear and
Mm-hmm.
delightful path to walk, they're going to walk that path and greatly improve your security. Now, we see this in terms today like passwordless. Like, does anybody love passwords? No. So we have a term called passwordless. What it really means is a much higher level of attestation, of device trust, and the ability to know that that user is who they say they
Mm-hmm.
are and that they're accessing from where they should. But what I'm doing is creating a delightful path that is also the most secure path.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, modern security cannot be a no organization. They have to be a guide. And the guide is, let me do things that make your life easier. And by doing that, I'm able to audit better. I'm able to expose new use
Mm-hmm.
cases. I'm able to serve you better. And I think when you come into a room and you say, well, here's the red team and here's the blue team, now fight, and the red team is experience and the blue team is security, and you kind of set up that initial sort of juxtaposition. That's where you end up in just starting off on the wrong foot. If you approach the security team and you say, hey, we're here to create the most secure path, you approach the security people and say, we're here to create the best experience, you just said the same thing. You're just talking to the right people on each side so that everybody understands what they're trying to accomplish. The easiest and best experience path in today's world is often the most secure path as well.
So when security and experience are in conflict, right? Who does usually win in an enterprise decision making, and do you think that should change?
So, if there is a conflict, the conflict is generally because we're both saying the color blue, but one of us is
Mm-hmm.
colorblind. conflicts or perceived differences of opinion. In an organization where you have a perceived conflict, there's generally not a conflict of, well, I don't want to help, or I don't want to do my job, or I just want to say
Mm-hmm.
no. The conflict is understanding what you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish. If leadership is helping the organizations understand that you're trying to accomplish the same thing, those conflicts go away very quickly. From that perspective, I don't think there's ever necessarily a tiebreaker in those situations, but it's simple the perceived conflict
Mm-hmm.
that you're after different
Mm-hmm.
things. And I think if you can let them know you're after the same thing, you're trying to get there different ways, you can bring people together to create a path forward that isn't, well, you're going to have to do 7 steps of multi-factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not more secure.
Uh-huh.
Passwordless and a face ID has been very well proven to actually be more secure than 12 factors of authentication. So I think you don't you never will look to say, well, that group's the winner and this group's the
Mm-hmm.
winner, but you win when you align objectives and you take the way they see the world and merge it together.
So I mean, like, I do understand your point, where it comes from. But what really happens is, people are exploring right now, something like zero trust, right? And then the multi-factor authentications that you're speaking about, right? To strengthen the security of the enterprise tech stack. But by introducing these things, what happens is the user experience, or the employee experience might get hampered. It can slow down the processes. But so, what is the advice that you would give, businesses to think like, to revamp all of these, instead of considering security as a cost center? We should start considering security as a necessity, right? And plus, ingraining employee experience also, considering employee experience also as a bigger part of it. So, how does this balance off?
Yeah. So I do feel like any employee is going to understand if you're working in an organization,
Hmm.
like you have to have a door and there has to be a lock on it.
Exactly.
I mean, just from a physical security
Uh-huh.
perspective, there have to be turnstiles, there have to be certain things. And when we talk about zero trust, and we're really talking about access enumerated
Hmm.
authentication and the ability to enumerate and attest to the trustworthiness of an endpoint or a user or a login at time of
Hmm.
usage, all of which, when done well, can make the experience much easier. We might have a turnstile in front of our building, but we're going to give our employees a card so they can simply swipe a reader and come into the building. It's very much the same discussion with security and zero trust is it's okay if I'm walking down the hallway for somebody to say, wait, who are you? Why are you in my building? Like, that's okay. And employees should understand
Hmm.
that these new frameworks are really there to help increase the trust level of our devices and our users and make sure that we have the right authentication authorization of resources. But it is normal to understand that I'm dealing with financial data. I should be like, wouldn't you be worried if they just let anybody on the street walk in and take a look at that? So there is a balance, and that could be seen as a hindrance. But I think when done well, it's very easy.
Hmm.
And when done well, a user can clearly understand that this is a safety precaution that I don't want to work in a building in today's world where there's not a security guard
True.
out front. I think people understand
Hmm.
that by and
Hmm.
large. Nobody wants, here's open campus. Everybody just come do what you want to do. And anybody can come at any time. And we have no checks or balances. That's silly. So I do think from that perspective, there's a balance. But if you're focusing on the outcome, a delightful experience with appropriate checks and balances, you're going to have a much better overall stance than you would otherwise.
Definitely. And Christopher, you have worked across sectors like healthcare, finance, and education, right? And I believe that you've seen end user computing evolve in each of these spaces, right? So my question next to you, next one would be: are there surprising industries or use cases in end user computing, and how is it making a bigger impact than people even realize?
So, one of the things that I would very much say is why it's incredibly exciting to be in end user
Mm-hmm.
computing is it is everything. So as much as I appreciate engineering and building applications and web-based applications and all the things that people do from business systems to software as a
Mm-hmm.
service, you don't use it without end user computing.
Mm-hmm.
End user computing is where everything actually happens. And getting it right is key to be able to access everything from artificial intelligence, software as a service, communication,
Mm-hmm.
collaboration, video meetings, all of these things. So when it comes to interesting use cases, if end user computing is not working, there's a surgeon with a patient on a table somewhere right now that if the machines go down because end user computing messed up, somebody's life could be in danger. We can't have that. End user computing is for families that are going home to see loved ones on holidays. And if you can't check bags under the wing in the airline industry because devices aren't working or something's not behaving the way it's supposed to, people don't see their loved ones. K through 12 in education. If in today's world, if you can expose a young mind to technology and the capabilities there, they're going to struggle with just a traditional book based only education. Understanding these tools is fundamental to our societal structure. So, from a specific use case, I love to know that our technology is strong enough and powerful enough to support organizations that put life saving implants into people's bodies that use our technology that help them over time. To know that that package that just got delivered, if you're like my household, it seems like the delivery truck comes by too many times per week, that all of that's driven by somebody with a device, with a Windows laptop, with a Mac, with a PC, and quite frankly, the sky's the limit on the next form factor and function of technology. If in 10 and 15 years computers still look like a laptop, I think we've all failed, right? I want my computer to look like these glasses on my face, and not a laptop per se. And I think we'll get there, and I think that's the way technology is moving. So, to me, EUC is everything. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's where things happen. So, it's the most exciting place to be.
That's definitely true, Christopher, because, that's fascinating to see how, end user computing is, revolutionizing people's life more than they even realize, right? And as you stated, like, the computers, right, in a few years, it should be somewhere in a smart glass that you have where, you can, do a call or, execute your daily task through just that glass of yours. Right now I believe that, from computers, like from the big systems, we moved into laptops. Now slowly and steadily we are moving into mobile phones are able to execute as much as we can do through a laptop. And now I believe, in the coming near future, it's going to be the smart glasses that are going to be the future is near. So now what I would like to, focus on is, because there are tremendous transformations happening at the moment, right? And all of these transformations will not be able to we will not be able to achieve without a strategic leadership, right? And I want to focus right now on that's how audience gets to know about your philosophy and about leadership, right? So, and I believe that many CTOs are known for their vision, but your profile emphasizes on people and mentorship, right? So as a CTO, how do you balance being a visionary technologist with being a mentor and relationship builder? Because I believe you are focusing on building long-term relationships.
Yes, sir. So I would just say that any form of leadership, whether it's in the home,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's in a club or organization, or whether it's in a business, is first and foremost your willingness to lay down your
Mm-hmm.
own thoughts and self and
Mm-hmm.
serve. And the best way you can serve is through influence, and the best way as a leader you can serve is through helping. And sometimes that means that you have somebody who's angry or upset, and you have to take off the crown, as it were, and bend down and pick up their feet and wash them. Um, and I truly believe true leadership means that you're there to serve your constituents, to help people to do what's best. Sometimes it means biting your tongue and not saying everything that's on your mind, but it's about focusing on what's important. It's about listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's about learning and engaging. The worst thing a leader can do is not
Mm-hmm.
engage and not have the hard conversations. Uncomfortable conversations and thick skin are part of it. And the way to do that is to not, well, I have a title or I have a position, therefore my opinion is right. It's really to what's in the best interest of everybody here. And sure, sometimes that means really hard decisions have to be made. But at the same time, if you're doing it out of a level of, I'm here to serve this organization and make it better, things tend to work out for everybody the best. You just have to focus on the things that are important. Customers, super important. Process, it's important, but we have to focus on making sure that we're doing the right things for the right customers, for the right employees, and sometimes that means extending a deadline for a project because of the human cost and capital of what it's taking for somebody to achieve that project, and maybe it was unrealistic, and we need to adjust our expectations. So from my perspective, that is a leader. It's somebody who will absolutely bend down and do the hard work and roll up their
Mm-hmm.
sleeves, but also set a direction, be
Mm-hmm.
clear and concise over what is needed and expected. And I think most people appreciate that and respond very well.
Definitely, I believe, from whatever you said, working under your relationship, the resource will flourish, and also the business will also flourish if you have such goals and such thought process. And but like coming back to the tech part, right? Because I believe that tech and projects are not just tech, right? It's about people, it's about business, it's about customers, and it's about execution, right? So my next question to you would be for leaders that are working on complex tech projects with multiple stakeholders, right? What's your advice on aligning business vision with technical execution?
Yeah, outcomes are all that matter. Business people don't understand everything that goes into building the vehicle that they're going to
Mm-hmm.
ride in. Mechanics and engineers understand their piece and part of it. The electrician understands their piece. The carpenter in a house understands their piece. The engine builder understands their piece. Outcomes and making sure you're headed in the right direction, and communication. If you're not, every meeting, every time you get together, say we're here to accomplish this, whether it's a 1 year off journey or 3 years off or 3 days, that has to be established in every single
Mm-hmm.
interaction. So when people get mired in details, which is
Mm-hmm.
engineers, we do, sometimes we have to be brought up to, that's really important, but it doesn't affect the outcome. So we have to focus on other things. we have to take perceived outcomes and actual outcomes and ultimately be a communicator. In a technical world, you're dealing with very intelligent people, all in their own right. The business world and people that are making decisions around when, where, and how companies invest, they just need somebody who they trust and somebody who's going to communicate with them in their own language to be able to drive the results they need. So I think those are the key aspects of it. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But it's day in, day out dedication to make sure that we're all driving in the same direction.
For sure. So, Christopher, till now we've spoken about end user computing, the balance between user experience and security. We've spoken about leadership, right? Before we let you go off from today's episode, I would like to lighten the mood up by, the next segment as a quick rapid fire. This will help our audience to understand the person behind the CTO title, and so it's all about quick instincts, fun insights, and short answers. No overthinking. Let me know when you're ready. I'll just jump on the questions.
I'll do my best.
So, coffee or tea? What's your favorite?
Coffee. Has to be coffee.
AI is a disruptor or an enabler?
AI is disrupting everything we're doing, but it's enabling the next wave of technology. And we have to stop building horseless carriages with it. We need to rethink the way our applications and things look.
And what's your go-to productivity hack?
Quiet. I'm pretty easily distractible. So for me, having a quiet, sequestered space so maybe it will have somebody diagnose me, but I had a noisy ceiling fan in my house, in my office, and had to replace it because of how distracting it is. So noise canceling headphones might be my productivity hack when it's not a quiet
Definitely.
room.
And if not tech, what career would you be working in?
Something where I could teach, something where I can, help other people. I think it's core to your own person, as well as others. But that would be my dream state, is to just be a teacher, an instructor.
And one piece of technology that you cannot live without?
Well, I think I'm going to have to say my phone, because it is a constant companion for me. So I'm going to go with my iPhone.
What's one tech buzzword that you wish people should stop using?
Cloud is a overused term. I think we just need to say computing somewhere else. And I know it's more than that. So before the comments light up. And then AI is probably the secondary one, because AI right now can pretty much mean whatever you want it to mean. And I would like to focus on useful AI that's actually there to like come alongside a person and help.
True. And if you could teleport anywhere right now, where would you go?
Well, I'm currently traveling for business, so I would teleport to my home. Right? I'm a bit of a homebody. When I can be, love and cherish what we've built there in a peaceful, beautiful home.
Definitely. That brings us to the end of this episode, Christopher. Thank you so much for sharing the balance between security, experience, and leadership in the digital first era. Right. Before we go, any parting words do you have for our audiences?
I would just encourage the audience that end user computing and these topics are challenging. You only win by engaging. So engage, learn, reach out, contact, listen to podcasts like this, and we're in this together. So I think we're going to continue to do great things. And thank you for taking time with me today for this podcast. I'm excited for some interaction that I hope this drives.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time, Christopher. You have a great day ahead.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, or your favorite podcast app. Catch past episodes and more at techdogs.com. See you next time.